Now you are
Yeah, started.
so you can
Start. Yeah. No problem. Okay. So first of all, welcome everyone. So today we are going to learn about. We are going to understand about what is F5. Okay. So first we will try see F5. What is F5? Okay, F5 it is a load balancer. Okay, and F5 networks it is one of the vendor. Like similarly, for F5 like load balance, when we say the load balancer, there are many vendors. They make load balancers. Okay, they provide the load balance like Citrix. Citrix has a load balancer name called as a NetScaler. NetScaler load balancer. Similarly, Cisco previously Cisco had one load balancer module that is called Cisco ACE. Okay, then F5. So there are many vendors. They prepare the load balancer. But why the F5? If you recall yourself, I have shown you the Gartner report, right? Let's say when we talk about the router and switches. So there are many organizations. They build a router and switches. But why the Cisco? Because Cisco is the king. Okay, because most of the market you will see the Cisco router and switches. When we talk about the firewall, so there are many vendors who made the firewalls. Checkpoint is there, right? Okay, let me write down this one. Important. Okay, when I say um, router and switches, okay, so many vendors are there. Like HP router switches, you will see. Then you will see Juniper. Juniper is the vendor. Similarly, you will see um, um, कौन सा रहता है? There are many vendors, HP, Juniper, and I'm not recalling the names. Cisco. Okay, so these are called the vendors. But why the Cisco is the first? Because Cisco is most of the in the real time in the like in the market, you will see the router and switches the belongs to the Cisco. That's why uh, we can say for the router and switches, Cisco is the leader since decade, right? So what is router and switches? This is the network devices, right? Switch you will have a layer 2, router you will have a layer 3. Okay, even switch also you will have a layer 3 switch as well, right? So Motorola is there, right? Even Motorola they provide Motorola. Then there's some more names. Um, Juniper has Cisco, Motorola, and um, okay, blah blah blah. So there are many vendors. I'm not recalling the names. Okay, so these devices. So but Cisco, it is a like most of the networks you will see the Cisco. Okay, so that's why like whenever the person come to the networking, they learn the Cisco, and Cisco had the syllabus. Okay, they said CCNA. They have the level of expertise. CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Associate. CCNP, Cisco Certified Network Professional. CCI, Cisco Certified Internet Network Expert. Okay, so again, Cisco has very field, very vast field like routing, switching, then security, then the wireless, then voice. So multiple branches are there. Service provider, right? So it's a C. Okay, lot of C. So that is the technology you have. Similarly, when we go for the firewalls, why the firewalls used? Firewall used for to in and out the devices, like to restrict what we do. The firewall for firewall, it we divide into the zones. Okay, it is a boundary. It make a boundaries between two different subnets. Okay, so that you can control the traffic between two different subnets. So two different boundaries. So firewall. So many vendors they made the firewall like Juniper. Juniper has the firewalls. Okay, you can go and buy. Then you have a checkpoint. right? So Cisco has the firewall, Cisco ASA now we call X, Cisco ASA X series. Then we have Fortinet, Fortinet is there. Then FortiGate is there, different one. And one more is there, Palo Alto. Okay, so you know what? Out of this, but as per the Gartner report, where it says so, Palo Alto is the leaders since many years, because you see the Palo Alto used in more many organizations. Why? We have seen that. What is the Palo Alto? But even what Palo Alto does, the same thing can be done by FortiGate, same thing can be done by Checkpoint. But there is every vendor has their own speciality. Like Palo Alto has their speciality called SP3, single pass parallel processing. So it does everything in one shot. IPS, IDS, URL filtering, routing, and reporting, everything can be done at one time. So very straightforward and very powerful device, right? Similarly, this is the routing, routers, switches, firewall. Similarly, if you go for the antivirus vendors, so there are antivirus is a technology. Okay, so many vendors they made the antivirus, like McAfee is there, like Nortel is there. So these are the vendor you can buy their product. So these are the products, right? This is the technology. This is the product. All the product that does the same thing. The only thing is it's your choice which you want to buy, which you want. Similarly, routers. Every many vendors they provide the router and switches. But why the Cisco? It's your choice, because Cisco is commandable. Like you can do many things. It's CLI based, right? You can. It's easy to learn, and it has very powerful hardware. And Cisco support is wonderful. If your switch break down, so within a few hours you will get a new switch at your office door. So many factors are there while choosing the vendor. Okay, similarly, load balancer is one of the technology, right? Load balancer, when we talk about the load balancer, so there are many vendors that build a load balancer. Okay, let's say Citrix. Okay, they have a NetScaler. Similarly, Citrix is there, and Cisco. Cisco was also having load balancer that is called Cisco Ace, but now there is no load balancer anymore. But it was there before Cisco Ace as well. Then you have Citrix. Then you have F5 networks. So what organization? Okay, if I go here, URL, if I go to the F5, if you go to browser and say f5.com, right? So you will see a website here, F5 networks. Okay, so you can see the symbol of the F5. See, F5 secure and deliverable. So they have many products, right? If I go here, okay, so you will see they have many products: advanced WAF, beacon visibility analysis, big IP, centralized management, DDoS hybrid. So these are server and load balancing. So there are many things products they have. So in that product, we are there is one more product called big IP. What is big IP? When I go for the big IP, F5 is having a growing platform. So in the big IP, they have many things. Okay, so you can see here in the big IP, when you go for the big IP, if I growing portfolio product provide availability, performance, and the security you need to your application. So F5 has the big IP is available in big IP access policy manager, then big IP advanced firewall manager, big IP DNS most famous, and the same time you will see the big IP LTM local traffic manager. manage network traffic, so application are always fast, available, and secure. This is what we are interested. See, F5 has many things, but the load balancer, when we say the load balancer, so here is the place that is called F5 IP, and many modules. So in that, LTM is the module, local traffic manager. When we say the DNS, so DNS, it is nothing but the GTM. That is another module of the F5. Okay. So when I go here and just click in another tab, so we are interested here. So what is F5? Local Intelligent Application Traffic Manager. Okay. So what is LTM? Okay. So LTM does many things like full proxy, performance optimization. It can done a programmability, TCP optimization, scale, speed. It give you, see, with the big IP LTM. When we say the LTM, local traffic manager, you get a sophisticated enterprise class load balancer. You also get granular layer 7 control, SSL offloading, and acceleration capability, and the scale technology that deliver on demand scaling. So it does many things. LTM, I rules, it has many things. I rule and all. So when we go deploy, what do you want? Like the F5 can be, you can deploy in the cloud directly. Like when we talk about the Palo Alto, so Palo Alto, they um, available in the cloud. They available in the virtual edition. They also available in the hardware. See, what is the virtual edition, what is the cloud, and see, these are the platform. Now every vendor, you will see the same thing. The Palo Alto, we have seen Palo Alto has the hardware, like you can buy the hardware, connect into your rack, and install it. If you have a virtual server, buy the virtual edition and run on that virtual server, run the ESX, right? If you have AWS, Azure, or some another cloud, so buy the F5 cloud version there and install there. So these are the three deployment option every vendor provides. So F5, you can buy in the cloud, you can buy in the virtual edition, or you can run without hardware, you can run on the VMware. Okay, or you can buy the hardware, right? And all three platform, cost will be required. There is a cost, right? So when I say hardware, so we are again, we'll see the hardware, then learn more about the hardware. So now it will show you what are the hardware platform available. So when we talk about the hardware, so F5 Vipron platform, so F5 has multiple types of hardware. So what is the F5, we will see in just few minutes, but before that, I'm just showing you walkthrough with the platform and the availability of the F5. What is the F5? The hardware you need only from F5. So these are the hardwares available. See, they have, let start from, see, Viprion 2250 blade F5. If you want to go for the higher version, Viprion 4800, then 4550 blade, 4480. Like similarly, we have seen in the Palo Alto. Palo Alto, we have PF 500, 3000 series, 5000 series, and 7000 series. Even in the Cisco also, you will see the same thing. 2950, then 45, 3550, then 4550. So the higher version, the higher advanced things will be there, right? So F5 is available in the module. Okay, now the question is which platform I should use, which hardware I should buy. So when we buy something, we interact with the F5 guys. We tell them, they come to you, and they understand what is the application, what is the performance, how many users is there, what is the performance of the application, how many users will access in a 1 minute, 1 second, 1 hour, 1 day. So based on that load, they will suggest you, okay, this particular hardware is suitable for you, buy this, right? So every hardware does the same thing, right? So F5 is available in these hardwares. Okay, so why to use the F5? Now let's go back to that question. Okay, so now try to understand. I'm trying to explain in very simple manner. Okay, so what happened is, let's say this is your organization, this is your LAN. Okay, and let's not go to the internet. Let's within a LAN only we will try to understand the use of the F5. Okay, so now we understand that we have a core switch here. Okay, and on top of that we know that we will have a firewalls, we will have a routers here, right? A router, and you will have internet connectivity, router to internet connectivity, then the firewalls it is here, and this is your core switch. Let me write down. So this is your internet router, right? This is your firewall, which will protect you from the internet threats. This is your core switch, which is nothing but it does all the routing and switching. Okay, and now after that you will have a LAN. Here you will have access switches, multiple access switches, right? Where, and these access switches will connect to your core switch, right? And here you will, your users will, they will connect you, n number of users, let's say. And when you talk about, let's say you have a WAN connectivity, so another connection, and here multiple branches are there. Okay, let's say you have um, your private cloud. Okay, and from here, sorry, from here your branch office is connected. Let's say here you have one branch office, here you have branch office. Okay, and this branch office is again connected to the your private cloud, and from here they also. Okay, so this is your complete LAN and WAN, and here is your internet. Everything is working fine perfectly. Okay, now you have a, let's say you have one server here. Okay, one server. Okay, that is that server is connected to your core switch. Okay, and that server has IP address something called 192.168.10.100. Okay, and on this server, what application running on this server? Let's say your time reporting system, the time reporting application, where, so what will happen, all the users time logs, right? So when they log in, how many hours they work, so those will install there. So let's say some http uh, time time base, let's say dot xyz dot com, you have given the name. Okay, internally you have given the name. Okay, so what happen is every day your users, see I'm sitting here, I'm sitting here, you're sitting here, someone else. So every day what they do is, see, they are already connected in the LAN. Forgot to connect the, okay, so what happen is, what I do when I come to office, before leave, every user, what they do, they will come here, they will browse this on their browser, http timebase dot their your internal dot com something. So what will happen, your request will go to this server, and one application will open here on your system. Okay, and you will write down, okay, this date I work this many hours. Okay, that is called one application, internal application. Okay, and this application, where this application actually hosted here, application is hosted here. Okay, who there will be programming, that application can be based on some programming language or something, so it will have some database as well. So let's not go into that detail. So let's say this is the what will happen, the ultimately every user, what we understand, every user come and access this server. Every user come and access this server every day. So see, from even branch office also, even you have some VPN connection. Okay, so from VPN connection also the people will come here, and from internet also they will come in and access here. Okay, so now what is this? This is a server. Okay, and you have given timebase.com. So what happened is one day, let's say, your number of branch offices increased, your number of users increased, you buy again, you hired some around 100 new candidates again throughout your uh, corporate office. Here some more branches connected, 50 user added here, and here also VPN user added. So what happened is your user got increased, but you still have that same server with the specific hardware. Let's say 8 GB RAM. Okay, 8 GB RAM is there, and some dual core processor, and some 100, let's say some 1 TB hard disk is there, 10 TB, let's say, and everything is working there. But you know what? Now the what will happen? These people will start accessing same thing, but these are old hardware. So uh, when one's guy connected, so the CPU, if suppose previously 50 user was connected, but now 200 users got connected at the same time, they are accessing the same data, same server. So what do you think? What will be the happen to this server? It will have a too much load on this, too much load, and at the end, what will happen? This server will start giving the slowness. Everyone will start complaining. Oh, this time base, it become very slow, very slow, very slow. What's the problem? And when the server guy checked, oh, CPU utilization is very high. CPU utilization very high. And the if the CPU utilization same high, it continue like this, then your server may went down, unresponsive. Your entire URL gone. So the first thing, the CPU utilization, that is the one thing you need to worry about. The second thing is, if you look at here, this is a standalone server which has lot of dependency. What happened if suppose this server break, if some LAN cable break, or is this server had some hardware issue, in that case also you are losing the service. This all user, this is one of your critical application, no one is able to access that. Their salary is based on that, time is very important there. So you cannot run a single server. So now what we understand, yeah, we required two servers. So what we'll do, we will create another server. Okay, we'll create another server. Okay, and we will give what is called if it is another server, then there will be another IP address, right? 192.168.10.101. Okay, so what will happen? We make this server as a backup. So what will happen? So when this server went down, okay, that time you will unplug this cable and plug this to this server. So now again the same functionality will start on this server. But you know what? How much time consuming it is? You need to know that first of all, this server is very slow. It is not reachable. Then you need to go to the data center and power on this particular server, and unplug from here cable and plug it back again, this server, and then test it. Then the other user, they will start accessing this particular server, because this server is till this server get repaired. Then when once this server come back, then again you need to do again that manual procedure. Don't you think it is difficult? Because your organization cannot afford this much of time. आपको जो सो मैनुअल वर्क कुछ भी नहीं रहता, आप जाके जो सो सर्वर को निकाल रहे फिर लगा रहे, इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल एट ऑल. सो व्हाट इज द सोल्यूशन? व्हाट इज द सोल्यूशन? हमको जो सो बैकअप भी होना है. Okay, we need a redundant connection, we need a performance, we need availability, and also we need a security. ये सारे चीजें how can I do with this standalone and this service? So this was the problem. Like okay, so what you need to do apart from this It is not only the changing the cable, because this server IP address is different and this server IP address is different, and you cannot give same DNS name to two different servers. So what you need to do again, you need to go and change in your DNS server record. Previously this DNS name, it was mapped to this 100 IP address. Then you need to go and change it, mapped to 101. DNS change. And you know, the DNS change record it, sometime it take 10 minutes, sometime it take 1 hour, depends. So till 1 hour you need to wait, your resources need to wait. Why? Because you are changing the DNS, you replace the server, physical activity, and also some DNS record activity. How much time is required there? So this all was the problem. Okay, the first thing, the problem, what was the problems? The problem was, um, I can say availability, then performance, also security, also I can say redundancy. These are the technical terminologies. What we discuss here, these all problems called in the technical terminologies. Availability means the server should, application should be available every time. Performance, the speed and performance should be good. It should be secure and it should be redundant. If something went down, then you will have a backup. So this problem, so what is the solution? You're looking for these guys: availability, performance, security, redundancy. So with this scenario, you're unable to reach out these four issues. So what is the solution? How can I reach this? What is happening is, your manual work is present here. You need to go and what you're doing here, manual work, manual cable change, or even you, if you don't cable change activity going on, then DNS record change, then time consuming stuff, right? So this all problems was there. So the solution came as a load balancer. The solution, the problem was this one. Now the solution came as a load balancer. What is a load balancer? In the same scenario, what will happen is, so here I'm going to use a I'm going to pull a load balancer. Okay, what happen is, we buy a load balancer, okay, and we put it into our network, F5 load balancer, and this is connected here. Okay, let me write down. So this is called F5 LTM, local traffic manager. I also say LB. LB means load balancer, local traffic, F5 LB actually, and in that LTM is the module, F5 load balancer and the LTM, local traffic manager. Okay, what F5 does? So what will happen is, see, now these two servers, they also connected here to the core switch. One server, both server has the same application. Okay, and their IP address is, one is 100 and one is a 101. Same network. Everything is fine. So what F5 does is, we create a VIP here. So that is called virtual IP address, or it is also called virtual servers, VS, virtual server. Okay, and this virtual server will have actual IP address. So it will have 192.168. Let's say 10.10, and your HTTP timebase.xyz.com. It is here. Okay, it is actually it is here in your LAN only, so it goes outside. Okay, so it is here. So you configured the virtual server. This is called a virtual server. Virtual server. Okay, so what virtual server? So instead of like, previously we were doing it here, right? So we called a virtual, so we create one virtual server here. So this is a one step, very important. VIP, that is also called virtual server. So now this virtual server should have some pool. See, F5, there are three terminologies in the F5 LTM. One is a virtual server, the second is a pool, and the third one is a node. Okay, so what will happen is, so in the F5 terminology, these two server where which we are going to load balance, so they called as a node. This is a node 1 and this is a node 2. Okay, node 1 and node 2. Now what we'll do is, this every application will require some port, right? Like HTTP, let's say this particular application hosted on port 80. So what we do is, so what we understand to access this one, what we need 192.168.10.100 column 80. It means that this application is running on port 80, and also this this server also having application 192.168.10.101 column 80, port 80. So what we do is, this VIP, when we configure the virtual server, we make this VIP as well on port 80, and we create one virtual server, and these two guys, these two nodes, individual nodes. This is one node, this is another node. So these two node we make one pool. Okay, this is one pool, and under this pool, these two nodes are there, node 1 and node 2, and these two guys also called pool member, and this pool will be attached to the virtual server. Now see the magic. Now what will happen? So what will happen, this F5 has actually this which is configured F5, it is nothing but a virtual server, is nothing but F5. So F5 has ability and capability, it does, it keep pooling these two servers, their availability. It will also keep a record. Okay, this two under this view with this virtual server is actually, it behind this virtual server two actual servers are running. This is first server, this second server, and it will keep checking their by ping and their port, their availability and everything. It keep pulling that F5, it keep pulling, and it will keep green it. So what happen is, now what will happen when now your all user traffic, now it is going and accessing to here timebase.server.com. So what F5 will do, it does a load balancing. It has some method of load balancer. Let's say by default it is a round robin method. So let's say this guy come and he try to access this one. So when the first traffic come, first request, so it will send, okay, you can go to this server and access. The second guy come, round robin, the second guy, it will second request, it will send here. The third request will come, it will go to here, and the fourth request will go to here. So like these load balancing methods, the request will be shared. Now see the advantage, your server load will be shared load. So if you have 100 requests, so 50% load on this server, 50% load on this server. And who does this all traffic management? F5 load balancer. The first thing, one work, that is load balancing. You will have a single URL which will be hosted on F5, and the people will access that particular URL. What will happen tomorrow? What happen is, your one of the server went down. So what will happen? There will be no impact on the users. Why? because F5 the virtual servers has the two nodes. So virtual it in the under the virtual server it will show one is green, one is a red. That's fine, that F5 no, but from the user perspective they still go here. So F5 this time it will send all traffic to this guy. So you will have a time, you will have a time to get this server back, and again load balancer. So this is the F5 load balancer. With this what you are achieving, you are achieving availability, 100% availability, you are increasing the performance, you are having a security and redundancy. So this is what you achieve, right? So this is a F5. This is a F5 LTM module, load balancer. This is called a load balancer. This is a load balancer. And load balancer means what? You load balancer is what? Load balancer is meant previously you had a one server which had a lot of load. So now F5 does a load balancing. Understand? So this is what we need to understand. So this is what we are going to learn in the F5. So what are the terminologies used here? So in the F5, what will be like F5 administration means what? What you have to do? So you no need to configure the application. The application team will configure that application, right? They will host the application on the server. Okay, you will be admin of this F5. So when you need to create the virtual servers, and to create the virtual servers, what you need a node, you need a pool, you need to create the pool members, and as this node, you need to add this node should be part of some pool member pool, and this pool will be associated to the virtual server. And in the F5 you will see a very, it is a GUI based very beautiful things, and you will see okay this virtual server, under that these two servers are there. See, tomorrow if you require four servers, you can add four servers under same URL, same umbrella, add here, and this virtual server it will have four servers. See how the load balancing. So there are multiple methods of the load balancing, like round robin method, and there are many methods, we'll see that. So how like one request will go here, second will go here, third, then, or you instead of that you can have two requests here, one request here, that is called ratio. Multiple methods are there. Similarly it does a load balancing also. F5 does what is called um, node monitoring as well. It does a monitoring as well. Monitoring of what? Monitoring of this called a backend server. These nodes also called a backend server, and front end is this one. Actually this is why we call a virtual, because server is not on the F5. Actually server is behind the F5, but in front of you who is looking, you are looking here virtual server, and behind this a load balancer. So this is a F5. When you want to learn the F5 LTM, means managing creating the node pool and virtual servers, and understanding the load balancing method, understanding the monitoring methods, HTTP or HTTPS, those things, and troubleshooting, and many things are there. It has some enhancement as well. You can do the URL redirection from here to here, and many things you can play. But moral of the story is F5 does this. I try my best and simple way to understand. If you understand this particular thing, why the F5 required, then you will understand the next remaining process, remaining days. Any questions here? Any questions? You understand, or it went bouncer?
Very, very good understanding. MashaAllah, Zabardast. Behtareen, behtareen. Very, very good explanation. I think a basic learner can understand everything.
So how about you? You understand, right? Because you're already aware about the servers.
Yes.
You're already about the load balance.
Yeah, we used to work. We used to give IPs to put the servers behind, and we used to get. You used to give DNS name for the load balancing, and the IPs of the servers. like this. We used to work with them.
Right.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely true. And it is very, very good explanation.
Okay. So what about others? What is Talib? You understand?
Something for
Yes, sir, I understood. Hello.
Okay. So what does F5 load balancer? What is mean by load balancer? What you understand?
Load balancer is nothing but to balance the loads. अगर दो सर्वर एक सर्वर है उस पर लोड बढ़ गया तो उसके
Answer
अलावा
me in
दूसरा सर्वर लगाने के लिए तो वो बैलेंसिंग के लिए लोड बैलेंसर यूज होता है फ्रंट एंड पे.
Okay, perfect. So this is what we are going to learn: how to manage the backend servers. What do you understand? You understand the load balance?
आया लेकिन पूरा कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर नहीं हुआ जैसे वर्चुअल सर्वर जरूरी है क्या?
Yes. Virtual server के पीछे load balancer ये node backend server रहता है. But virtual server we configure on the F5. क्योंकि before F5 this URL was here on the particular server. So when that server went down, then you need to follow this procedure: manual cable change, DNS record change, and time consuming efforts. Then you need to redirect that DNS name to here. But now with the F5 you no need to do that. Your actual URL will be configured here, and behind this these guys will be here. That is called your backend servers. And the F5 does all things. Like if any of the server went down, still there will be no impact. Your traffic will be here, right? So that's
Yes.
it. So this was just a brief introduction of the F5. Why the F5? Where the F5? Now what is the component of the F5? How to configure that, and how to do this? Those all answers we will learn in coming days. But now, if this session we recorded, you listen one time, two times, you will understand very clearly, because this is the best I have given, best explanation. Very simple. I try to give. So, like if you still have doubts, so listen this again one, two times, three times, so you will understand very clearly. So F5 does so. F5 operation means what? When you do a operation work of the F5, then your day-to-day activity will be creating virtual server, managing node. This node went down. So if application went down, so they will directly call you, F5 guys. My application is not working. So you will come here and see in the behind this application if these two servers went down. Okay, now see in this example. Let's take this example. What happened is both application went down, both server went down. So what will be the status on the F5? Because if this is a virtual server, so it will see both node are down. So obviously the URL will not work here, because ultimately this F5 is sending URL to here and there. Both are down. Then where it will say? You will say page 404, the page not available. That page. That's it. That's F5. So throughout see, it is very easy to understand. Like, and once you start doing it and you understand the F5, so it will be very helpful. And if you are part of infrastructure, that is why every network engineer should know about these things. He must know about the router and switches. He must know about the firewalls. He must know about the load balancer. And one more point, basic we missed, that is the L1. He must know about the cabling and all. Let me write down here. He must know about the L1. L1 cabling. He must know about copper. He must know about fiber. See, so if anyone want to become a network engineer, then they need to understand, then they must have a understanding of cabling, L1, L2, copper, fiber. They must know about the router switches. 1, 2, because switches, routers, that is L1 and L2. Then your L4 and L7 will be here, firewalls, and on top of that your load balancing will be there. So if you understand this, so this is your complete infrastructure. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how my understanding that if you want to become a network engineer, then you need to go from L1 till L7. This is a L1. Okay, here your L2 and L3. L2 and L3. This is your L4. L4 and as well L7. And this is your L7. So your OSI layer, 7 layers of OSI. So all OSI layer, the networking layers are working on. These all are the hardwares where your entire networking is flow. So the way of as per my understanding, when I teach someone, if they want to become a network engineer, network and security engineer, so I can say these are the steps, starting from the cabling to the switching and routing and the firewalls and the load balancer. This is not the end. After this, I can say what is the next. After this, the cloud. Once you understand and you have the experience in the uh, what is called in the infrastructure, then you have a cloud here. For the cloud, that is the next step. So that's it. Let's stop here.
Load balancer are used in every organization.
Yes, every enterprise, because single server, see, this is the requirement of every organization. If you are a small organization like 10-15 members, then load balance is not required. But every MNC, every multinational company, they will have a load balance. 100% they require a load balance. Otherwise, you need to do this manual procedure. There is no alternate. Load balancer is required. If and again it depend on application, especially public URL. And again, this is just now we talk about the private URL. So this load balance, this can be a public URL. We will see that what is public and what is private in coming lectures. But load balancer is required. That's why if you want to become a complete engineer, then to this all OSI layers 5. So what I try my students, they should have understanding and hands-on with from L1 to L7, so they can have a clear picture of the infrastructure. See, you can have a clear picture of what is this. The switches, your WAN, your all the routing protocols, everything is coming here. The firewalls, the inter IPS, IDS, URL filtering, everything will run here. Then the load balancer is here. See, this is, if you learn this, so that's it. In infrastructure, you will have these things only. L1 to L7. And after that, that programming and the languages, so that is a different thing. Those people will work here. But when we talk about the infrastructure, this is a complete infrastructure. Infrastructure. Infrastructure means what? Infrastructure means you have a network devices, you have a cables, you have a router, switches, firewalls, load balancers, servers. So that is infrastructure. And what is cloud? Cloud is nothing but it is the reverse of infrastructure. The same thing you had physically, everything will be here. In the cloud also, you will have a router. Only thing is you will not have the router switches there. You will have a firewall there. You will have load balancer. You will have a virtual servers there. Everything will be there, and you can manage the same infrastructure. This is alternate. If you don't want, you don't require this one, go here, cloud. Okay. So inshallah, this is very interesting.
Yes,
Take it seriously. It is very interesting, and throughout this course we will learn many things here. Okay. So tomorrow we will see like F5, what are the modules, and focus on that, and how we can prepare the F5 lab. We need a VMware again, same like a Palo Alto, it is also required a VMware. On VMware you can install, and the good thing is it is 90 days free license they will provide, so you can go and install. But in your VMware you need F5, and you need at least 2 servers to test that. So there is a challenge with the lab as well. Or maybe you can purchase a lab on the internet. Many people they provide the F5 labs. Okay, so let's see that. We'll discuss tomorrow. Okay, so let's stop here. Thanks for that, and yeah, we'll meet tomorrow again.
Okay.